There we go. This thing, I had a comment like Matt Walsh here talking about those activists, the one in Philadelphia who was killed, and the one in Bed-Stuy. You know, I got to comment on this because in this subject I'm practically an expert. More expert than I say Matt Walsh or anybody else. Why? Because these ghettos, like these guys were killed in, I lived in them. You know, the time I was a kid, I grew up in Cypress Hills, New York, and I left there in the early '80s, but I came back in the late '80s, where it was at its worst. It was literally the murder capital of New York City when I was there in '89. I heard the gunshots. And then lived in Albany, New York, in Auburn Hill, which was another bad neighborhood. I lived on and off in Auburn Hill for many years. I lived not too far from Hamilton Hill in Schenectady, which is another bad neighborhood. I lived across the river from Troilette, which had another bad neighborhood. I'm pretty, I used to go through these neighborhoods all the time. People used to, ask for me as a guide to go through, like, say, Auburn Hill. I should, because, I myself got jacked. Got jumped. I said jacked, but I got jumped twice when I was drunk. At night, late at night, drunk, by myself, drunk, very drunk. Other than that, I didn't have a problem. I'm a big guy. And when I was young, I was a very big guy. Very strong. So I didn't usually have a problem. And this was back in the day when people weren't shooting each other like all the time. And even though I was the white guy in the African American hood, I still didn't have too many problems. But let me tell you, and this is very simple. I'm not like saying, oh, you need some expert. Oh, it's because mind your business. Okay, very simple. Some wacky guy comes your way, down the street. Don't engage. Walk across the street. And somebody else said this too. Give this advice, and it's good advice. Especially at night, you really should not be out in that kind of neighborhood at night, unless you know it, you live there or something. Like I was saying about me, and it even happened to me. I got jumped, but I was very drunk. I was young, very drunk. I'd come from a bar, and whatever. So, that could happen anyway. But I was walking down the street sideways, so I was asking for it. But I've seen these people; they were drunk too. They had just come from some kind of party. So, you see what I'm saying? Yeah. Should not be in the. And the other guy, there's something fishy there because people don't come in. I don't care how bad the neighborhood is. I even lived in another neighborhood in Albany that was like a mini hood. And there was a lot of crime there, a lot of drug dealers, and a lot of people out in the street all the time. It was African American neighborhood. And I lived there because I didn't have a choice at the time. I had to get a cheap apartment. I was there with my son. And we used to come out during the day. Never had a problem. We'd go to the store. But at night we stayed in the house. I was ready to come out. I couldn't come out by myself or something. Not that I was afraid, but I didn't want to get involved in people's business. You see what I'm saying? Because, usually it's no good business. And that's what I'm saying about this guy. This guy was, he got into somebody's business, some form of fashion. And I'm not saying that he deserved this, not at all. But I'm just saying that somehow he brought it to his doorstep. Like I said, if you live in a bad neighborhood, he does have a point, Matt. Walsh was saying about, these kinds of neighborhoods and being aware that what they are, and you should, obviously, if you're in denial about it, you have to realize it is a bad hood, and you have to act appropriately. It's like I said, as one who's an expert and lived in these for many years, you have to be wary of certain things, and especially being around at nighttime is a sure flag. One that you shouldn't do as little as possible. And like I said, minding your business is another big thing in these kind of neighborhoods. You don't want to get involved with the local politics or or people because it's not going to end well. Especially if you're a Caucasian in an African American neighborhood. that's it. That's all I get.